No, see, something happened to me that just hearing you talking tonight, it means something to me to know that I'm not bananas. I mean, I'm a pretty straightforward, down the line person. Working, I had a good job at DCU, and I went back to work after having my daughter, Neve. My husband teaches engineering at DCU. We had Neve in 1988, and I went back to work when she was 5, when she started school. And we'd leave her with Daniel's parents, my husband's parents. And his mother would always pick her up from school, and I would collect her after work. And last year she was dying to learn how to swim. And the school has this thing. They take the class down to the CRC in Clontarf on Wednesdays. She was learning very well. No problem, loved the water. And she couldn't wait for Wednesdays and swimming. And Daniel used to take her to the pool on Saturdays and everything. But for such a bright, happy, outgoing girl, she was a big... she had a problem sleeping at night. She was afraid of the dark. She wouldn't let you leave the room. One of us would have to lie with her until she went off. And even then, she'd often have to come in and stay with us. And I'd say to her, what's the problem when you go to bed? But in the daytime, she didn't care. The night time was a million miles away. And she wouldn't, think about it. But at night, there were people at the window. There were people in the attic. There was someone coming up the stairs. There were children in the walls, knocking. And there was always this man across the road who she'd see. I mean, there were like loads of things. The poor... Well, I wanted to take her to the doctor, but Daniel said no, she'd grow out of it, and we just had to be careful of the books we gave her and what she watched on the telly and all of this. But I mean, she was even afraid that when she woke up that Mammy and Daddy would have gone away and she'd be left in the house on her own. That was one she told Daniel's mother. And that the furniture and the carpets and everything would be gone. And I told her, I said that we would never. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I said if ever she was afraid during the day that she should call me and I would come and get her. That there was nothing to worry about. And she remembered all her numbers. So she was very good at learning numbers off and everything. She had mine, she had Nana's. She had mine at work and everything. And then last March, the school was having a sponsored swim. And all the kids were going to swim a lap across the pool. And I told her I promised I would be there to watch. But I was late out of work. And I wasn't going to be there in time. I was only going to be there in time to meet her afterwards. But when I got there was an ambulance outside, and I mean, it's in the Central Remedial Clinic, so I didn't think anything of it. I mean, I thought someone was being picked up, I just didn't pay any attention. But then when I got in, there was nobody in the pool. And the teacher was standing at the side, and she was with the children, and they were crying, and the teacher was crying. And then one of the mothers, she came over and she said that there'd been an accident. And that Neve had hit her head. And that she'd been in the water and that they were trying to resuscitate her. And that she'd be all right. But I couldn't believe it. I thought they must have meant someone else. But then they took me into another room, and Neve was on the table. And it was a table for table tennis. And the ambulance man was trying to resuscitate her. He was giving her the kiss of life. And she was lying on the table, and she was in a swimming suit, and he said he didn't think what he was doing was working. And he wrapped her in a towel and he took her to the ambulance, and I got in the back, and she wasn't breathing, and I think he knew. And he said he wanted her to take her on to Belmont so they could resuscitate her. And he said if I wanted to give her a hug just in case there wasn't time at the hospital. And I held her in my arms. She was freezing cold. And I said, "Your mommy loves you very much." And she looked like she was sleeping, but her lips had gone blue. She was dead.